man who needs no introduction in the real estate industry, the chairman and the managing director of the Rustomjee Group, Mr. Boman Rustom Irani. So your brand tagline and the logo is around being thoughtful. So how do you live this by, the tagline through your different cycles of real estate process in terms of what brief you would have given to your architect team or the construction team or your marketing or sales? How do you make sure that everyone lives by this motto?
I would start off with first wanting it yourself. You want to do it yourself. You want to be doing the right thing, like I said, right? From there on, it's just a matter of practice and putting it across to people time and again and saying that you need to do the right things at all points of time. Let me tell you, we built the first wheelchair access to homes much before it became, let's say, today it's almost mandated. We built the first sewage treatment plant much before Environment Act became applicable to real estate. The idea is, like I told you, the automobile industry keeps on, redefining itself. You have to keep trying to redefine your products. You have to see the kind of market you are heading towards. Rustomjee happens to be one of probably very few developers, and we were the first to provide one bathroom in every home where you could have wheelchair access, right? Or let's say you had a broken foot or an older person in the house. So we have a seating in one of the showers. We have a handrail for people to get up from, their toilet seats itself. So these kind of things are essential. Initially, you've got to want it. You've got to tell people that it's required. It's needed. It is something that will be a differentiator. After that, you let them also take off from there. And then they come up with a slew of things. Today, you'll be surprised at how a young mind thinks. And, whenever I am interacting with a younger mind, I kind of am intrigued at the kind of clarity of thought or the vision that comes out of them. All they don't have is the perseverance. So you have to grab the idea and then keep them in that rail and say, keep going ahead on that. So Rustomjee has done many firsts for a lot of these things in homes. We are continually redefining ourselves. And it's thoughtful. It's Rustomjee is not just a tagline. It didn't come out of any smart PR or advertising agency. It actually came out of 600 hours of time spent, 600 man hours of time spent by our team, which was totally put together. There were professionals brought in to kind of speak about and get from the industry, from our team about the industry, about the future of real estate. And it's thoughtful. It's Rustomjee was a culmination of the thought process of the entire team put together and brought into a laser and said, what is it that Rustomjee, could do? We just said, we're thoughtful. We will take care of. If we have not done something right, we will stand up and accept that we've not done it right and try to do it right. If there is something we've left out and we've understood later, you can be certain we will do it in the following buildings. We were also one of those who kept pushing for balconies in our apartments much before COVID happened, and only after COVID happened, people realized the value or the power of or just the lifestyle that one can kind of build on if one had a balcony. And we just kept on pushing for those initially. And in the old Mumbai, if you remember, balconies used to get covered up by windows, etc. So we said, fine, if you want to cover up the windows, here's a kind of a window that kind of slides and goes all the way to the end. So we researched, we found the right product, we put it over there, and we said, at an extra cost, you can have this convenience as well. So whenever you want to air condition it, please, because the Mumbai weather is a little bit of sultry in the monsoons as well as in the summer. So we said you should have that amenity as well. But otherwise than that, please have a balcony which you can utilize in the mornings. Keep it open. Sit down there and listen to the birds. We created probably one of the best, I would say, terrace gardens. You should come across to Elements and see. It's about a 450-meter walk one way on that terrace. And that terrace has got great amount of plantation on it, great sitting nooks, nooks and corners. Imagine walking in absolute safety about 56 meters up in the air, where you're away from, let's say, the traffic or any kind of hindrance that would come with it. A huge broad walkway from one end to the other with people, like-minded people, saying good morning, live music playing in the background. Again, over there, let me tell you, we researched and said that to get birds in, what kind of species of plantation should be done, and thereby how to actually encourage birds to come in over there. So over the audio system, we started playing bird chirping sounds. And you'll be surprised, I'm told, the concentration of sparrows that we have on that terrace today. Yeah. The sparrows are beautiful small birds, but they are actually vanishing from Mumbai city. Yeah. You will not find them in too many places. When I was a child, we used to see sparrows like for the asking. Today, those sparrows are plenty atop Rustomjee elements. And we just thought it's important to do it. After that, now terraces are gaining, a great, venue for most other developers also. I'm very happy. I'm very happy that everybody do the right thing. Everybody start following, because in real estate, it is my belief that every home buyer is looking for comfort, is looking for lifelong value. And if all of us can create that, I just think this market will only improvise or improve. And again, to give you an example out here, first in terms of gold jewelry, you had these 1 or 2 or 3 strong brands that ruled the Mumbai market. And then there were scores of other jewelers who used to do the small jobs. But now today, see, the biggest brands are in this business. And still, nobody's business has gone down. Jewelry by itself has grown as a market. And that is when, at the advent of RERA, and I'm just taking you away a little bit, when RERA became a reality, most people were concerned. I just thought of it so positively. I said, hey, here is something that will give my customer, beyond only my brand, a little bit of a comfort that he can invest in real estate. I said, what greater asset can I give, to my family or my future generations than a great home? And voila! I mean, truly today, if you see, everybody is happier because of RERA, because the consumer is happier to put his money. Even an investor is happy to put his money into real estate, because he knows if he does not get what he's been promised, he's got an ombudsman he can go to. There is someone who's going to listen to him and give him speedy dispensation of what he needs. True. So these kind of things, keep us always motivated, happy. We never look at it, Rustomjee, these things as obstacles. We, as a matter, look at them as business improvement areas. And while most of the people talk about compliances becoming too many, I keep telling my people what is wrong with that compliance. It is absolutely a step in the right direction by the government, asking for us to do the right things. Yeah. Fine, you as a great company did it earlier. Rustomjee has always been doing it. But now everybody has to follow that. And now we are supposed to report it. No harm in that, right? We should keep on making this industry larger. We are still looking at first homes. There is still a second home. Then there is a, plot of land that people might want to buy, a holiday home that they might want to invest in. Investments in real estate have actually grown the wealth of an Indian over the years. At one point in time, 50% of your wealth was generated out of what your real estate investments were. Then for a long time, it shrunk because people were scared of this business. Today, I think it's again growing. We've still not reached the peak. And you might see that in about 2 or 3 years, given the maturity of RERA and given the maturity of the maturing of this industry and of all the compliant real estate developers coming in out here, you might see a big boom or an even bigger boom in time to come.
See, maturing of real estate industry is definitely happening. And in that context, I want to ask you, during the listing, you had completely quoted that, you're going to put all the money in MMR region. And you're not going to push the demographics. And in comparison to what other players are doing, like Lodha, Godrej, Prestige, everyone are pushing the demographics. And don't you feel that particular statement of yours is a bit conservative?
So I'd much rather build my business brick by brick. I'd much rather have a steady graph of growth than trying to just take off like this and maybe, not being able to control it. Good luck to those who can do it. But let me ask you a question, Kritika. Do you know what percentage of the recognized residential real estate market of India was of the MMR region alone in 2020, 2021, 22? Almost 40%. Yeah. These are reports. Now, when you are a dominant developer of a particular micro market, which you understand, not only understand, which you can give direction to, why would I want to go anywhere else? This is a wide market. This is a deep market. This continues to be the most sought after market. I mean, I don't even need to take names of all the developers from the other geographies that are looking at coming over here. I'm very happy. Please do come, because like I told you earlier, the market segment should only grow. And with this growth in this market segment, I continue to be one of the most, well, like you already mentioned, and as a developer which most buyers would aspire to buy from. I'll keep growing myself in this area. I'll create a size and scale. We are in the MMR. We're not only restricted to Mumbai. MMR is a very large area. We go everywhere that infrastructure is, slated to grow. We will go everywhere where we believe that there is a future growth of requirement of good homes in that area, right? So it could be a hub that gets created, like a warehousing hub that got created, right? We went and started acquiring development rights in that area. Our model is always very, very asset light. We do not want to burden ourselves with acquisition of properties, which could then weigh us down. And those land banking days, if you remember, so many, the promise that came in 2005-06, I've got land banks, and everybody went to the market. We don't believe that business works. I've seen it in China, I've seen it in India happen before. We are very conservative. We will stay true to what we understand. We will continue to excel in what we do. We'll continue to grow our market share in this, which is the largest market. And like I said, in time to come, we'll redefine our stance. But today, I'm very clear, and my entire board supports our view as a company that we don't need to step out into all these markets. We are very, very growth oriented in this micro market, and this micro market will see a great amount of growth going further.
How important the IPO was for you? Apart from raising funds or lowering the debts, what was the motivation behind of listing the company?
So, in our journey of development, if there's one thing that stands true, it is the fact that you always need to be in the money. A real estate developer, no matter how profitable the business be, has to continually make sure the projects are running at full steam. So we've done that through private financing in the past. We've done that through debt. We've done that through private equity. Coming to the markets was an obvious happening in some point of our career. And like I said, this is not something we started thinking about today and just jumped in and said we should do it. And quite honestly, Kritika, it wasn't even the debt. We didn't have that kind of debt. As a matter of fact, before we came to the markets, we reduced a huge amount of our debt. We at one point of time did take a single-minded focus, how we can improve our balance sheets, what is it that is required for future growth. Even if it meant to degrow for some time, we accepted that. And we said from here on, the only way forward should be in this structured fashion. So coming to the public markets was an obvious choice for us. We've been discussing, or rather gathering knowledge on this from a very long time. And when we did find the opportunity, not the first time, but the second time, the third time, we at some point in time decided to take that call. There are advantages, there are disadvantages, like anywhere else, right? So as a company, we've always worked with private equity, so we've always been transparent, we've always had great governance systems. So all that was a given for us. As a company, we've also been, transparency has been built into the various layers of our business itself. Because we believe that a business, if it has to run well, it has to be a see-through kind of a business. You've got to know, except for your strategy and for your, deal making, you have to have a clear line of sight for most of the functions. We decided to go to the markets because we believe it's a great way of putting yourself out there and letting people take advantage of this business. Other than just investing in real estate, today you can invest in the stocks of real estate companies, namely ours, and reap the benefits of doing that. I don't need to mention this because every astute investor knows that in any stock market, if you're a trader, God bless you, but if you're someone who buys a stock, which is a good stock, and holds it over a period of time, the dividends are multiplied manyfold, right? We know for a fact that we as a company are on a growth path. We know as a fact that as a company, we will be able to give great returns to our investors. We know as a company, we're going to continually need to be in the public markets because that's a great avenue to raise finances time and again. We know as a company, we will continue to give returns to our investors as such. And more importantly, redevelopments, which we are so focused on in this city, is something that is going to grow. You're reading the papers every day, right? There are redevelopments literally coming out of every page in that newspaper. And it's no secret to drive around the city is under redevelopment in a manner of speaking. So we at Rustomjee have been doing redevelopment since the year 2000, right? And we are ahead of the curve than most other people on this. And this business requires money. So, and it requires to have a certain perception as well. Today, when I go for a business with a society, or I go to take a redevelopment property, they are very comfortable with the fact, because everything that I have is out there in the open. They can read my balance sheets. They can understand what kind of operating cash flows I have. They are very comfortable with that. Otherwise, most of the companies are in this shroud. We don't know who it is. We don't know what kind of money they have. So this worked out very well for us. It also worked out very well for us to be, subscribed by 54,000 shareholders initially. So that many people have faith in this company by virtue of the fact that they may have, at some point in time, invested with us as a purchaser of an apartment, may have dealt with us as a supplier or contractor, enjoyed our transaction. This only adds credibility. This only adds value. And I can tell you this, that we didn't have any need to go to the markets to reduce debt. But what we have done after we've gone to the markets is we've reduced debt hugely. Today, our debts are down to, I can say that we'd be able to pay down all debts. We'd be a zero debt company in less than a year's time if we so decided. But we will continue to have headroom now because of that for all new developments that we undertake, because debt to equity should be according to us, a healthy debt to equity should be a 1:1 ratio. And we've got a war chest right now with us. We are able to expand our reach. We are able to take on more projects. We are able to reach far and wide in the city itself. We've realized that Rustomjee not being present in the eastern suburbs was something that residents out there were longing for or asking for. And our one foray into Bhanduk, where we sold off almost about 80% of our stock in less than 6 months' time, which is not even the norm that we follow everywhere, showed us that there's a great amount of buyer potential in that market. And today we are expanding our developments in the eastern suburbs. So today we have a war chest. We're out there. We're transparent for all to see the kind of development work that the company is doing, because we've got to keep filing our results every 3 years. And I believe that going forward, companies that have or are in the public market spaces have the right governance in place, have the right transparency for all to see in place, and can exhibit strength by virtue of the work that they do, will be the companies that would have the maximum potential for growth.
So in MMR, we are also seeing different plays, especially Lotha is getting into branded land developments. So what is your take on this? And will we see Rustomjee also getting into this particular land brand developments? So if there's one thing you should know about Rustomjee, we will not take any knee-jerk decisions. We will not jump in or jump out of something that looks very attractive today. We are a little bit like the Japanese over there. We will evaluate, we will ascertain, we will test, we will be almost certain before we decide to kind of make a big jump in. And over here, I just want to state to you that the real estate business has been going on, according to the words of one of my uncles, late uncles. He said the real estate business has been going on since the times of Aurangzeb. So it's only changing its form, right? There were zamindars and thekadars, and today it's changing. But the business will continue. People require a good home, a good shelter. People require it to be at a great location. People require to have a great community around them. And people's needs are all that I need to be focused on and take care of it. I don't think I need to be in every asset class. I think I just need to be in the asset classes that matter, or those that I have a great grip on. And it's not like we shut our eyes to anything. We are a very aware company. We keep our tentacles absolutely up there. We are very sensitive to everything that happens. We have an entire team, a young team that kind of keeps us apprised of all the newer happenings that are taking place and that possibly could take place in the future. We may be slow, but we are certain. We don't like to have climb up slippery slopes and wind up in a position. We've done that in the past.
being over-aggressive. I don't think this is the time for this business to be over-aggressive. I think this is the time for a business to define itself. And real estate, once it's defined and you can stick to the business plans or stay the path, you have greater chances of greater success than trying to experiment too largely with things. Having said that, I can tell you that we have been looking at plotted developments for some time. I can say since 2018. We may make an announcement sometime soon, but nothing on the cards that I can talk about today.
So tell me, you must have noticed in Mumbai there have been a lot of infrastructure projects delayed, right? But the current government is making sure that more infrastructure projects are in place and on timeline. The city comes into a development front. What is your take on this? Do you think Mumbai as a city in past had missed out on a good opportunity because of delayed infrastructure projects?
See, no point crying over spilled milk. Okay, so I won't speak about that. What I can tell you is, like I mentioned earlier, by 2025, I'm giving it an additional year, right? A lot of this infrastructure will start functioning. A big part of our city would have been rejuvenated by all the redevelopments that are taking place. The number of new entertainment, work, study, spiritual upliftment places would have been created. And all of these would obviously enhance the life of you and I. And by that, Mumbai would have once again become that city where every Indian would aspire to. You know, they say, live at least once in New York in your life so that you understand what city life is all about. I'm saying the same is going to be true about Mumbai. And it used to be true at one point of time. Everybody in all movies used to go and watch just because there was Mumbai in that, in Mumbai life. And songs got made about that. I'm seeing that era come back again. Infrastructure, especially that which comes from the metro rail, is going to change the way the city functions. Just to give you an example, our offices in Andheri, people that work with us come all the way from Dahisar, Kandivali, on both sides of, whether it's on the highway or on the link road. And today, they're able to make it to the office in about 23 to 24 minutes from literally their homes or once they get to the station in air-conditioned comfort versus, 1.5 hours in the traffic that used to be there earlier. Literally get down and walk across to the office. It's a breeze. Life has given them 2 hours more in a day, right? The 1 hour lost in the morning and maybe 1.5 hours lost in the evening. This allows them for a better life and lifestyle. Big impact. Another big impact is going to be the roads that we create. When the Maha Mumbai opens up on the other side because the Trans Harbour Link, you create educational universities out there that have a lot more space where our future generations can go and educate themselves and we don't have to send them offshore. You will have infrastructure in terms of warehouses or in terms of commercial offices, which will be larger floor plates. Those businesses that need to be closer to the airport for purposes of their needs would start moving over there. The city would, in a way, be able to move a lot faster, better, without signals, if it's possible. You'd have a lot less pressure on SV Road coming once the Sea Link or the coastal road goes all the way up to Warsaw. I think all of this just adds to the value of life in the city. And even if you see the way the infrastructure is being developed today, there's a lot of beauty to it. There's aesthetic. There is no longer just putting those blocks in place and saying this is done. I see so many small things in the city. The underside of most of these flyovers are getting greened out. First plantations are taking place. Walking tracks are being made. Seating spaces are. It's a city, right? You are going to hear the honking on the other side, but you're at least happy that you can sit with a friend in an open environment and have a conversation with great greenery around you. Small things like this will also make a difference. The way newer CBDs will come up in this city will change the way people live and work from there. You will see a future where people will start moving closer to their places of work or places of, in the US it's still true, people move because they want to be close to a good school in that area so that their children would have a better life, or would just like a neighborhood that is a little more spread out. And they're able to do that because of the infrastructure of the roads. America didn't build the roads built America. Yeah. And that's exactly what I'm seeing in Mumbai. I can honestly say I'm seeing that in the entire country. There's a lot of infrastructure work going on and shocking pace. great happiness to people like us who look at the future and look forward to the potential of the future. And kudos to the government for taking this up. I am a fortunate person to live in these times, to be able to kind of experience that city undergoing an entire change. Some amount of time we are facing a little bit of AQI, etc., but that's fine. For a better future, that should be fine. And Mumbai is a blessed city. We've got a fantastic national park. We've got the RA. We've got great greenery, even in parts in the city. The city has been well planned. We've got a coastline that is brilliant. It's like possibly one of the best in the country. And we are a very fortunate city. And with all this infrastructure, we'll only grow it more. We'll only become that much more better. And I look forward to the day, like I said, maybe 2025, when I don't need to use a car anymore. And I can just travel by public transport and get from point A to point B much faster, easier. Yeah, I'm looking forward to those days.